think it's really easy to look at games like Hollow Knight or Stardew Valley and think, wow, that person or team's game went viral. It made them millions and they never have to work again. And for a lot of us, that is kind of what success looks like. What you don't see, however, is the hundreds and hundreds of hours that these people put in to perfect their game dev craft. But once you kind of look at these creators and start analyzing the people and the stories behind them and their games, you really start to see something special. You see a vision meeting preparedness, and you can slowly see the equation for success. And this really goes for anything that we want to grow and get better within ourselves. Whether it's game dev, art, or sports, practice truly makes perfect. And that's what we're looking at today. The bare bones equation for finding success really anywhere, not just game dev, but with game dev specifically, making games faster, getting better at the craft, working out the kinks and the bumps in the road, practicing and practicing and practicing until it becomes second nature to create amazing games. And I want to be super duper clear, this is not a quantity over quality thing. This is about how can I strengthen areas where I'm lacking and cut out or hire out what's holding us and you back, so that our vision can truly come to life, because that's really what people want to see. They want to see you. So here are my 5 steps, my 5 tips, my 5 pieces of advice so we can all make games faster and solve that equation for success. Let's get into it. The first thing on our list is planning. And the best way to get a foot forward on this is to get a game design document. This will help you plan out every step that you need to take, put words to ideas that are coming into your mind, and really keep you on the straight and narrow. Because something that every game dev struggles with is scope creep, and you just want to bring all of the ideas to life, and that's just literally not possible. There does need to be a limit, and setting those boundaries is crucial for getting a game completed. There are multiple places where you can download a game design document. I'll have them below, but having a game design document to fall back on is a no-brainer. And unless scope creep is handled, it will come and destroy you. Because it's destroyed me in the past. I've heard it destroys other people's projects, and it's best to get ahead of the beast. So make sure you're planning, make sure you have that design document or something where you have all of your ideas and a vision for your game, and you have all the steps laid out. It doesn't have to be super detailed, but a vision for the future. Make sure you have it, because you can't go wrong with it. And it'll absolutely help you get to the finish line of creating games much, much faster. Next one on the list is use all the tools. What do I mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean by that. There are so many free tools out there. I've mentioned this like 3 times in 3 different videos, but there's so many free tools out there. And I mentioned cutting out things that can be cut out in the game development process, especially where you struggle. If you know that you can't make a pause menu, man, maybe it's worth just spending $5 to get a pause menu off of an asset store. Or if you know you can't make a jump animation, well, that's a little tougher because our characters are tied to animations, but we should not be afraid to let ourselves be helped in this way. And there's so many free tools out there, like Piskel or Audacity. Said that weird. And that's not even mentioning like the Unity asset store, where there's just tons of free assets that you could just download and use. Use tools, especially free ones, to cut out processes that take so much longer. It's gonna help you in the long run, and again, it will help us make and complete games much, much faster. Just by cutting time out where we either lack or that's just time consuming. There's no shame in it either. So don't be afraid to use tools that are readily available, because it'll be a game changer. Before we jump to the next one, I want to mention that I do have a video about this as well. Maybe there'll be a card over here, maybe the right side, where you can check out free tools that help game devs everywhere. So go check it out. Next one is a little confusing probably, but it is jams. Game jams. Game jams are amazing. I mentioned it again 1,000 times. I made a video about it. I'll put it here maybe. Game jams are amazing. Here is why. Especially in this equation for success topic we're talking about today. Game jams flex all the muscles. If you've watched any of my other videos, I've mentioned this before, but they're amazing. Game jams flex every muscle. And when you are making games, there's a lot of muscles that don't get flexed until the end. And if we're only doing it for projects we finished, That's probably not very many times, unfortunately. Especially, I know me, there's so many projects that have been not finished, and a lot of those skills were not flexed. Those muscles were not flexed. And game jams will do that for you. They'll flex your muscles, your game dev muscles. They'll give you deadlines, and they just put you in an environment where creativity is flowing like honey. Milk and honey? That was a weird one, but you get my point. And not only does it flex all the muscles, but you also figure out what hurts. What parts of the game development process do you not do so well? And in the game jam process, you're gonna figure that out real quick. And then once you figure that out, go back to my previous one and find a tool to help you through that. So if the game jam, you need, I'm gonna use pause menu again because I hate doing them. You need a pause menu. Okay, that every time I come across a pause menu in a game jam, it really hurts. I know it takes a lot of mental baggage to deal with that, and game jams are gonna reveal those hard things for you. So do game jams once in a while. It doesn't have to be all the time. Maybe every few months do a game jam, because it is just a great mirror to hold up against yourself to see, where am I hurting? Where are the bumps and scrapes, that I take along the way that slow me down? It's a weird analogy, but you get what I'm saying, I hope. Game jams are amazing, and you should do them. That's it. Go check out my video about it. The next one I wanted to talk about is kind of a no-brainer, and kind of goes with the other ones I've been talking about, but don't be afraid to team up with people. And again, I made a video about this. I don't mean to toot my own horn. I'm covering all my bases, but finding people who are like-minded like yourself that you can share a vision with, if you can rally those people together, man, it is an unstoppable force that people need to take advantage of. Not only does it help you get ideas and bounce ideas off of other people, but it will also help you not take that journey alone. We just talked about having a reflection of yourself and where do I struggle the most. A teammate's gonna help you with that. And it's really hard to find people. I absolutely understand that. But if you take the time to just find just one person to help you take the journey with you, it will mean so much and will make the difference. If you're curious of how to make a team, how to find people to make a team, I will have my video over here, maybe in a card. I don't know how many cards I can use. I'm just kind of like throwing them out here. They're all going to be in the description below. But do not be afraid to team up, because it is a game changer, especially if you can find people who think like you, who can share the same vision as you, and who aren't afraid to be flexible. This is a major part of the equation to success, because not only does it keep you accountable with the people you're working with, but you all want the same goal. You all want to finish these games. You all want to bring your ideas to life. And when you're all working towards that same goal, there's just a better chance of reaching it. So don't be afraid to team up with people. This last one is kind of a no-brainer as well, and kind of might be confusing or sound limiting, but don't be afraid to make smaller games. I feel like game developers, myself included, we get these ideas in our minds and we want to bring these huge things to life. My first game that I wanted to make was like a Monster Hunter clone, and I had all of these monsters and armors laid out, and I was like, I'm gonna bring this to life. And I had never made a game before. I was alone, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And that game was way too big for my skill set. It kind of goes back to the first one about planning, but if we are able to keep our scope small, we at least give ourselves a starting chance or a leg up in completing a game. I know a lot of times we can think to ourselves, a smaller game means it is less than, or that it's not as impressive that we finished a smaller game. But that is so far from the truth. Look at games like A Short Hike. That game took me, I think it took like an hour for me to complete it. And it was so good. It was such a great game. Or even Undertale. I kind of consider Undertale an RPG. It might not be, but RPGs can take hundreds of hours to complete sometimes. Undertale takes under 10. And that is very short for an RPG. And those games are filled to the brim with character and spirit and atmosphere that people die for. They love it, myself included. So don't be afraid to dream about a game that doesn't take 4 years to make. At least not at the beginning. This whole process is about making games faster. So at the beginning of the game dev process, it might make sense to build smaller games, because your brain toolbox might be only able to make smaller games. But the more you make games, the better you get at it. And something that maybe once took you 2 hours to do, you can do in 10 minutes. And after 10 games, you will probably be able to make a larger game. So especially at the beginning of the game dev process, or if you were kind of just looking into making games, keeping a small scope is for your benefit, and I believe a key factor in the equation for success. So those are my 5 tips, and the ones I try to follow myself. But it's important to remember the definition of success, which is, I'm going to read this, the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. So really, success is what you make it out to be. And it's different for everybody. And I know, for myself included, I put enormous amounts of pressure on myself. And I think many game developers do that. What it can really do is become too much for us to handle, at least for myself. I might be the only one, but I know when something seems just like an unscalable mountain, it becomes very easy to quit. It becomes very easy to convince myself that it's not worth it. And it is worth it. It is actually quite simple. Yes, there's so many incredible moving parts like marketing and looking at what games are popular right now and what game makes sense for the time that we're in. All those things have to do with success. And it's true, those things do play a part in the success of our game development journey. But many of us don't get past that starting line. Many of us don't finish project, myself included. And if we're able to get past those first few steps, it will greatly increase the chance of finding that success. And that's what I want to leave it on. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have another video out next week, and I just appreciate you guys are here. So yeah, until next time, just keep going for it. You got this. You can do this. I believe in you. I believe in you. I'll see you guys next time.